Today I'm going to be talking about a podcast that has some issues at the moment. The podcast is called TBH, or the To Be Honest Podcast. The hosts of this podcast are Nerd City, Dolan, Colossal, Crazy, who is also at times called Clown, and there is Pyrocynical. I've talked about Pyrocynical in the past and highly recommend that video often at the end of my videos, and I recommend that you should watch it before or after this video for sure. But to start on who these host members are so you have some extra context, Dolan is a YouTuber who started doing YouTube over 10 years ago, doing videos, making memes in a video format. It's hard to say what kind of category he's exactly in, but this was a very popular category a few years ago in the 20-teens. His main channel has been abandoned now, as he hasn't uploaded on it in 3 years. That channel has over 1.5 million subscribers. The channel did very well during its time, and it was very popular till he disappeared. He was one of the main people that made those very popular videos, meme formatted videos. I have no idea why he stopped uploading on that channel, but he has 3 other channels, Dolan Darker, where he makes meme-like videos with not as much effort, and they're a lot more random. Another channel is called Dolan Darkest, where he makes very extremely low and short effort content videos on drama topics, and I guess he's just trying to make fun of Pyrocynical and what he does now on his second channel. The other channel is Dolan Darkrai, I think that's how you say it. It's a card opening channel, basically where, you get the card packs and you get like random cards from like Pokemon or whatever other card game. Those channels were very popular sometime during the 2020 and maybe a year or two into that. These were very popular. People made these channels, then would upload only like 1 or 2 videos and then just abandon these channels. Dolan Darkest is the only active channel by him. The others haven't uploaded in months or years. Another host, Colossal is Crazy, is a British YouTuber with over 500,000 subscribers who used to do gaming and trolling videos, then went on to do commentary videos. But if you go on his channel, his bigger projects that he's most known for are the only videos that pop up on his channel, which 2 of the videos are his videos on FouseyTube, and one of the other videos is his infamous Lion Maker interview. He has been a part of a couple podcasts in the past and has been close to Keemstar for a very long time. He is also a part of an expose series with Nerd City, which I will get into later, and is known by mostly everyone, but hasn't uploaded in 5 years on his main channel. But he did have a run at streaming and playing games on his second channel, Colossal is Lazy, where he would stream like gaming moments and stuff like that, and then also post highlights of his live streams on there. But he hasn't been active on that channel in 2 years. Colossal is Crazy said himself that whenever he's working on a video about a certain topic, once he's done with a video, like basically writing it or done with the video or in the midst of working on it, he realizes it's too late to upload a video due to how fast people move from subject to subject nowadays, from drama to drama. My recommendation would be to talk about a topic that maybe you don't have to worry about something like that, where time is not an issue. Maybe an older topic, or maybe, I don't know, there's just plenty of stuff you can go after. Maybe an entire expose video on Logan Paul. Focus on a video that doesn't have to involve a time frame. But to go on, Nerd City is another host of this podcast who was, before 10 months ago, an inactive YouTuber who would post once or twice every year or two. He makes highly edited commentary videos on topics and dramas, but in the past year he's been on a 3-video uploading streak, but hasn't uploaded in 4 months. One of his most known videos would be the J Station video titled, quote, "The Worst YouTuber of All Time." In this video, he said he was making a multi-part series exposing a scummy YouTuber known as J Station, but it's been 2 years since the first video was made, and there has been no new episode since. Which really sucks. I hate, because apparently he knows all this information and such that no one else knows about, but refuses to upload a video about it. For one reason or another. I really have no idea why. But if anyone does know why, let me know in the comments down below. Please and thank you. But now that you know every host of this podcast, let's get into the podcast drama. So Nerd City recently had a breakdown in his podcast Discord server, mainly over Pyrocynical's audience and the comments that they leave on the videos and on Pyrocynical's subreddit. Apparently, Nerd City talked about certain topics and brought up stuff that Pyrocynical's audience did not like, and they just overall did not like Nerd City. Pyro's fans would go on to talk about Nerd City negatively on Pyrocynical subreddit and on his Discord server, and also probably on the podcast Discord as well, saying that he needed to be canceled for some of the stuff that he said. I think one of the topics was trans people, and there was probably another subject or two that they got mad about and said they needed to be canceled for, but I don't really know. As well as they just criticized Nerd City in general, which really upset and bothered him, as he'd go on to have arguments in the comment sections of Reddit posts, and I even heard arguments in YouTube comment sections. What was at first a private issue amongst each other became public in the TBH Podcast Discord server. One of the first messages to leak about this situation was this message here. It starts out with Nerd City responding to someone asking why he wasn't in one of the last episodes. Nerd City responds saying, "I'm not recording until they start deleting lies from Pyro subreddit at the very least, but ideally they should speak up and discourage it. But that's too much to ask, so censorship at minimum." Which I don't really like how he used the word censorship, because that's a really weird word to say, I'm not gonna lie. Uncle Ben, which I'm pretty sure is a clown in this whole thing, I guess his name is just Uncle Ben in the Discord server. He says, "You're making all this public when we were sorting it in private. When you want to ban Patreon users with total impunity, I specifically warned you that as a result of that, they," and then it doesn't finish the message. To explain something really quick, it sounds like Nerd City was wanting to ban people that paid to support the podcast. But to go on, Nerd City responds to Clown's comment saying, "Going to quote Reddit is different than going to Pyro's Discord and Pyro's subreddit. It only festered because he's a coward, and so is Dolan, and so are his mods. Banned people from here went there, where they will never be banned unless they cross the magic line with him. You lot never had my back. You unbanned everyone who I banned just so they'd think you were cool. They turned this server into a hate community that necessitated coming back in this server to end the Nazi gifts and vindictive fixation you were all presiding over daily, like the most self-concerned head-in-the-sand admins. His communities were being instrumentalized to spread hate, this narrative about me needing to be canceled, and he'd acknowledge it with little dappy wappy minty baby talk." I don't really understand the screenshot he added there, so we'll go on to the next message. Clown responding to that big old message talking about banning people, he said, "I've never unbanned a single person, by the way. You had free reign to do that. We should do a call tomorrow. I don't know why you want to air a dirty laundry like this to a bunch of morons." Now we're going a couple days into the future, where Uncle Ben would say, "We should probably get in a call and sort this honestly at everyone," basically giving a notification to everyone. And Pyrocynical says, "I'm down to call." Uncle Ben says Nerd City, Jay, tagging them, giving them the notification and being like, "Hey, focus on this. I'm around for another 20 minutes, then bed. I'll join VC. I'm just scripting at the moment," is what Pyrocynical says. Nerd City responds to Jay saying he's going to bed by saying goodnight. And then Nerd City also responds to Pyrocynical's message saying, "Minty winty baby wavy." Uncle Ben says, "Are you joining the call?" Nerd City responds with this emoji, and I can't really see, it's too pixelated here. And he also then responds to Uncle Ben's comment saying, "No, I know enough about these guys. Effing F word," which is the gamer word, F word. Uncle Ben then says, "I think it's very important we do it, but we can reschedule." Tries to get everyone to call for a few hours, and I don't know if they ever actually had this call. I have no idea what he's talking about when he brings up the Nazi gifts or the minty winty baby wavy. I guess he's just saying Pyrocynical made a poor response or is being a baby. But to be honest, it was just really cringe. Because Nerd City is supposed to be seen as this professional 500,000 subscriber channel, but then acts like this, really cringe-like. Other than those screenshots, I have nothing else explaining the drama. These screenshots basically tell the story as is, and so will the upcoming screenshot. But what was interesting was Pyro wouldn't even talk about this situation on his live stream, as there was a clip that was going around where Pyrocynical was scrolling through his subreddit, basically trying to freeload off of other people making content. Basically, was trying to go through his subreddit and just talk about whatever they were posting, and someone made a post about the drama. He read a couple sentences in, and once he realized it was about the Nerd City drama, he immediately says oh, never mind, and then just goes away from the post and goes on with the rest of his stream. There is another message though, which would be Nerd City's statement saying that he was leaving the podcast. It's a huge multi-paragraph statement, but it says, some TBH lore you might not know. Clown and I launched this podcast with a plug at the end of our J-Station collab. As a result, it was those viewers and then a handful of Twitter replies from all of 4 hosts that really got the ball rolling. Also edited visuals in the first 3 episodes, and TBH was a bit more like a video series than a podcast back then. Looking back, I feel confident that I knew how to keep the earliest TBH subscribers entertained. That did not remain the case over time. By far, it's Pyrocynical who has the largest fan base of the 4 hosts, and once he started to link the TBH podcast at the end cards of Pyrolive, it picked us up and changed our demographic dramatically. Jay would also work Pyro's face into our thumbnails and his name into our titles, which boosted our subscriber growth by a lot and strengthened the connection to Pyro's channel. More people are interested in Pyro as a topic than they are Nerd City, Colossal's Crazy, or Dolan Dark. So, as this strategy continued to work, the top comments changed from telling us to replace Pyrocynical to telling the rest of us to sit back and stop yapping so much, and just to make fun of him now and then. Another thing became increasingly clear. Most topics that I think are interesting will bore Pyro's viewers to death. On my channel, I have a theme of exposing secrets or exposing theories that sounded like crazy quote conspiracies, but that I would demonstrate were true. In one case, I helped confirm that YouTube has a secret rating system for each channel and video. In another instance, I collaborated with analysts to show that YouTube's bots were suppressing LGBTQ creators. And as you may recall, on episode 5 of the TBH podcast, I went over, quote, ESG scores and BlackRock's, quote, Aladdin stock picker, about a year before those concepts were mainstream talking points. And I'm proud to see that that episode is our most viewed and is now close to hitting 1 million views on YouTube. However, as time went on and as our demographic kept evolving, it got a lot harder to ever share a topic like that on the podcast again. Pyro's viewers don't seem to enjoy when I explain things, and the topics I like tend to be a minefield of keywords that are suppressed by the algorithm, like, quote, Bill Gates or, quote, demons. I did keep trying to add value to the show, but more and more viewers would voice their concerns on Reddit and our comments about how I was, quote, unironically including clips from, quote, alt-right shows like the Joe Rogan podcast, or mentioning, quote, alt-right conspiracies, such as mental disorders like DSM-V. Less yapping, quote, make fun of Pyro more, were main requests. Okay then. As a creator, I like to work on content that people will enjoy, and unfortunately, there was a feedback loop where the more I tried to take a back seat on leading our discussions, the more that the minority of viewers who joined from my channel would politely tell me that they didn't like the podcast anymore. And to be honest, I started feeling increasingly unhappy contributing low-effort work to the show. There's been a push and pull where I always wish that the show could represent something more useful to people. So to be honest, the way this all turned out made me feel pretty angry the past week, and by complaining openly, I tried to force my co-hosts to see how bad things really are. The most maddening thing is, I believe we recorded a pretty good episode in TBH 31, and a surprising amount of people even said that it was their favorite or the best episode yet. But in spite of all that, it still missed the mark by a lot with Pyrocynical subreddit. So a few days ago, I lashed out at Pyro over this, in public and in private, because I felt like he wasn't defending our show when it got heat from his fans. My thinking was that since it's his viewers that we cater to now, then he should speak up or correct the record if his fan base attacks us unfairly. But obviously, criticizing Pyro isn't going to fix his fat, smelly subreddit or his belching, gaseous Discord, and it also wasn't fair to place the blame between Pyro's big sweaty moobs. The state of TBH actually isn't any particular host's fault at the end of the day. It's the result of the decisions we all made, and it's equally been my doing too. I, for one, could have been uploading more and balancing the scales in our listeners, so in the manner of speaking, it was Pyro's prolific upload schedule that kept TBH in business at all. And so I should be thankful to him pulling his weight. As most of you already know, Pyro takes a different approach to his communities than many YouTubers do. He eggs his fans on to act like they hate him, which most of them do, and then he acts completely unflappable when they tell him to kill himself. But I haven't built that relationship with the internet, and to be honest, I'd rather not have one. I don't like the dense fog of farts that Pyro manages to thrive in, so all things considered, I don't see a path forward where I can be useful to this show. I'll still be hanging around the server and channel if you need to reach me. I'm going to remain in the Patreon Discord, and you can still talk to me anytime you want to, but in the near term, instead of recording new TBH episodes, I'm going to turn my focus back onto making new videos for YouTube and finishing some larger projects I started on that are moving way too slow. Now and then, if I have a good topic to yap about, I might record an audio stream for Nerd Suburbs and then cross-post it to X on Nerd City. I'm looking forward to uploading again, and maybe this new challenge of starting from scratch and sitting alone with a microphone yapping into the void. Thank you for everyone who supported the TBH on Patreon. I'm grateful that you gave me a chance to entertain you. If you are subscribed to Nerd City on YT, I aim to have interesting videos to show you soon. So from what was said here, Pyrocynical's viewers really ruined the idea that Nerd City had placed for the podcast. Nerd City had an idea of a decent production podcast about certain topics on deeper levels, but Pyrocynical's fanbase wanted the opposite. They wanted him to stop talking as much and not be as serious and focus on making fun of Pyro. Pyrocynical's fanbase does have some of the most insufferable people to ever exist that both hate and make fun of the dude, but also weirdly support him and defend him despite knowing that he's in the wrong. Knowing his content is bad and declining, but still watch it. Knowing that he did bad things in the past and still defending him. Maybe he's becoming a lolcow like World of T-Shirts or Daniel. And although you can't control your audience like some argue you can, it's evident what the loud majority of Pyrocynical's audience is. It's a bunch of ignorant kids and weirdos online who are hard to stand, and absolute losers. And I don't know the full story as I wasn't a viewer of the podcast, so whether they actually have good criticisms or were just being annoying, to me is unknown. I feel like there might be some criticisms for some stuff that he does or that he has said that are valid, but from what Nerd said, the ignorance and lack of seriousness and effort wanted by the audience is what he didn't like. He wanted to make a podcast that was, serious and what his fans would like, and someone else's fan base decided to take over that did not want that. A viewer of Nerd City on Reddit made a post explaining the long time coming decline of Nerd City, saying this: Gotcha_cat spelled with 2 T's made this Reddit post saying, Nerd City's downfall has been fairly consistent over the years for me. It started out that he had a few videos that I thought were presented interestingly enough. Then he made a video asserting you should never pay a commissions artist until they have given you the art. This is the format that ends with us artists getting screwed over the most. Then he made weird Islamophobic comments about J-Station, someone who was also weird, but his race and faith shouldn't have anything to do with it. And then the NFT shilling. After all that, I decided I should just check out, and everything I've heard that he's done after the fact has made me not regret that decision. The artist commission opinion by Nerd City is definitely stupid, as if it's known to be a scam or how artists get scammed. It's just overall not a good idea. In the artist's point of view, why would I give someone my product and just have to hope they pay me after, spending all this time doing it? Besides just paying up front like every other site in existence does. The most popular ones like Fiverr or all the other ones make you pay up front first. I get that maybe you don't like the art when you first get it, but if it's truly that bad, talk it out with the artist or just use the product given and suck it up. And if you get scammed, so what? You can report it, you can make a tweet, you're a big YouTuber. You could, contact the support, you can report them, and they probably have like an easy ban system to where it doesn't happen again, and you probably get your refund. It's not that difficult. That's just a terrible opinion that's easily debunked with just another point of view that isn't blocked, The stuff towards J-Station I really don't know about, as I haven't watched that J-Station video in 2 years, so I don't know if it's really that serious to, go on about. To be honest, get it. I watched maybe an episode or two of the podcast before I started disliking Pyrocynical and realized that he was actually not a great dude, so I don't really have many comments on the podcast and the quality of it. The idea that Nerd City has does seem to be a good one, though, and I remember liking when he talked about stuff because it was an actual conversation about interesting or unknown topics from a voice you only hear from once every year or two. But if he wanted a serious podcast, he should have thought of someone else besides Pyrocynical and Dolan, a literal meme maker and a pedo who is known for his terrible audience and declining and lazy content. Clown can be pretty serious and good when talking about certain drama topics and subjects if he wants to be, so I feel like it's fair to add him in as one of the serious people, but the others are just weird. You can swap them with other creators that take it more serious, and it'd be a better, more serious podcast like he wanted. To be honest, Dolan might be actually okay. I can't really exactly remember, but I mean, whenever you look at his background, what's he really know about dramas? But from what I remember, he was actually serious and not that bad. But to go on, I also feel like Nerd City worried too much about the art and visuals on the podcast. Don't get me wrong, it's good. I like how he wants to make it different and better than other podcasts, but podcasts are supposed to be easy and consistent, and mostly a listening experience. I like the visuals and the idea they currently have and are using for the podcast, and don't see why you would want to make it more. Especially because if you're focusing on the art and the other stuff, you're going to be less consistent, and some more points I bring up in a second. Because if you're focused on the art and making every podcast episode different and having to do the art yourself, it's going to just delay, the podcast episodes, and it's not going to be inconsistent with a podcast. The whole point of a podcast is consistency, especially whenever they're just talking about dramas mainly. But the problem is, he already made this podcast with a set of hosts, so changing them would really hurt the channel, especially if most of them are Pyrocynical viewers. If I was him, I'd start over, or just make videos on these topics that he wants to talk about. Looking it up, he does have a second channel with 20,000 subscribers he could upload these videos on, but this channel has also been inactive for like 2 years, and it was just, the videos kind of sucked. He just mainly needs to upload on a second channel. He seriously does need to upload videos more consistently and make the J-Station videos. Worrying about the visuals and making them yourself is going to, in the end, hurt your main channel and getting videos out. And Nerd City does deserve some criticisms, because he tried making NFTs and making it different, and I just don't like that at all. As soon as you say NFT, I'm out. I don't trust it. I don't like it. I think every YouTuber should just stay away from that. I don't even know if this thing has succeeded or is even still being worked on or active. It could be active for all I know, but whenever you're as inactive as he is on YouTube and you only watch his videos, you never know. I follow him on Twitter as well, and he doesn't really tweet that much from what I've seen. I've not really seen him much on my recommended and all. You can follow me on Twitter though, PERK3030. I also get criticisms can suck and they can hurt and all, but being a little soft and making it all public is good for me, of course, because I get to make a video on it, but bad in the eyes of the fans, the creators, and makes you look bad and soft. From what people are saying in the comments of tweets and such, Nerd wasn't a good guest in Pyro fans' eyes. Him and the audience just did not mix, as he wants to be more serious and Pyro fans want to be less serious. Apparently Nerd was also not in a few episodes for whatever reason. A lot of people are saying that he is soft and that this whole drama is stupid, and honestly I kind of agree. A person named Doe Jingles, who I guess was a viewer of this podcast, said he took too long to put together visuals and they weren't getting any episodes out. Missed several podcast episodes at the start. No surprise the largest creator brings in the most fans. Modding a Discord server for a project you're no longer part of is crazy, which is pretty true. I guess because he started the project, he still wants to be a part of it. My personal opinion is Nerd City made a stupid choice with the hosts, and that ruined the show completely. It's basically what killed it now. Maybe Dolan can be good with topics, I don't know. I think he can be, I can't really remember. But keeping Pyro was a weird and bad move, considering you want effort and seriousness in the podcast, which Pyrocynical provides neither. Nerd City has potential, but really needs to make more videos, stop worrying about NFTs, make a better podcast crew. And I want to emphasize this so much because I'm really annoyed about this. He needs to upload more. and needs either to make a new podcast of his own, start uploading on a second channel, or make a new channel where he can have these low effort rambles or a podcast style type deal about some topics that he's interested in that he doesn't want to make videos on. Or maybe just make a new podcast group or something. I have no idea. Because he might have a good idea, and I think that he does, but he just executed it poorly, and he could use a redo. But focus on the main channel, give us the J Station videos that we have literally waited years for, and that is really it. Let me know what you all think about this in the comments down below. Thank you all for the support. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you like this video, I make others like it. Watch the Pyrocynical video if you have not already, as it shows who Nerd City let in on his podcast, which again, just even besides all of the other stuff, letting in Pyrocynical after all the stuff that has happened is just a very terrible thing. Like, it's just really weird behavior, I feel. I have update videos on a few people I've made videos on soon, coming soon, and in the end, I'm PERK 30, and good luck to you all the rest of this week. I surely need it.